Welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills and today's segment of ShirleyLouFinance.com. I am Tia Young, co-hosting today's show with Dr. Shirley Lou, CEO of Shirley Lou Finance, LLC. Today we are going to talk about women and girls taking charge of their lives when it comes to their financial stability. Shirley will also talk about the recent market correction and how it affected the products that she works with. So let's get started. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Tia.
How's it going today?
It's going great.
Good.
Of course, today's Chinese New Year. And
Well, yes, I'm going to have you talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. I can see the beam all over you. Good. So, Shirley, during our last show, we had started to talk about the importance of married women understanding their finances. Can you give some clear-cut examples of what you mean by that? Because just as an opening, I see quite a few of our young ladies that are, just giving away monies to their boyfriends and all kinds of things, and then they end up with nothing.
well, it's interesting because I was on the radio another time, and when the host asked me, "What do you really do?" And I said, "Well, I teach women and girls about money." And one of the things she said, "Well, what do you teach?" I said, "Well, I teach them the 5 biggest mistakes that women makes about money and men." And of course, when I said that, they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" So all the guys like, "Tell me about the mistake with the men."
Yeah, right.
And I told and so they tell me, give me an example. Okay, so is it okay if I give you some
Sure,
example?
yes,
Okay?
yes.
So one of the first example was that, let's say a gentleman, okay, your husband, your boyfriend, or whoever it is, and said to you, "Hey, I'm going to take you on the nicest vacation there is, Tia." Right? And you sit there and you say, "Oh, wow." He said, "I'll take care of everything." Right? And so you can actually believe your, fiance, friends, boyfriend, whatever, that he's going to do that. Well, guess what, ladies? Mistake number 1. When he tells you he's going to take you on vacation, does that mean that he's going to take care, is it just booking the airline tickets? Or is he just booking the airfare and the hotel? Or did he get the kids coordinated? Who's going to watch the kids when you're away? Who's going to coordinate? What about the excursion? When you get there, what are you going to do? What about the car rental? Well, what about this and that? All those kind of things. Because men tend to look at the bigger pictures and not the nitty gritty. So, same thing comes with financial. When he tells you that he's got everything under control, well, what do you have under control? Well, what happened if something happened to you tomorrow, right? You kick the bucket early, pass away early, what happens to me and the kids? Second of all, what happens if you happen to get hurt, get sick, heart attack, strokes, Alzheimer? What if you drive a car and somebody hits you and you get hurt severely? What happens to me when I'm counting on your income? Right? And then, if nothing happens to you and I, what happens if we live a long time? Do we have money to live off? Right?
That's right.
So it goes both sides, so men and women could kind of think about that,
Yeah.
And another thing sometimes too, I see young ladies always said, "Well, I'm going to find that knight in shiny armor. He's going to come and rescue me."
Yeah.
And it's great, if you think that that's going to happen, but we live in a modern day age and nowadays. If he comes, kudos to you.
Right.
But what if he doesn't come along? What if, you know what I mean? So don't you think financially that you should be thinking about yourself, and making sure that that happens,
Right. Right.
And then it's not just about women, but it's also men as well too,
Right.
I mean, I always think that, today, great, you may have, find your prince or your princess, and you live in this beautiful kingdom and all that. But at the end of the day, sometimes prince and princesses, they find different prince and princess.
Right, especially sometimes
Exactly.
with some of the older men, and they marry women, 30 and 40 years younger, and sometimes the women decide they want to do
So
other things.
it does both ways, that I
Yeah,
see it. So
yeah.
I always believe in that, you should have something financially strong yourself first.
Right.
Take care of yourself first before anyone else.
Right, that's right. Well, what can we as women do to help our daughters, our young daughters? It was, like I said, I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she was talking about this wonderful boyfriend that she had, and that they were going to do this and they were going to do that. He was a little bit down on his luck. That's what she was saying. He was a little bit down on his luck, and that she had been helping him with all kinds of things. I mean, I was just sitting there looking in shock of all the things that she was doing. And she's pretty young. I mean, she's under 25 years old. So I'm wondering, you know, moms, are we not, you know, telling our daughters the whole thing, what they need to watch out for?
Well, I'll tell you, my daughter, you know, my daughter,
She's just
Amanda.
15, right? Oh, no, your older daughter,
the
Amanda.
older daughter. Okay, well,
Yes.
Amanda been dating this guy a long time. I really like him. I loved him to death. You know, I think he's wonderful. But every time they get together, they fight. They fight like cats and dogs, right? And I'm like, oh my God. I say, you're not even married and you fight like cats and dogs. I said, so I don't want them to go into that situation where, so I said, look, don't you guys think you should maybe get a counselor, you know, to talk it out, what is the issue and things like that. And believe it or not, counseling is not a bad thing. Counseling is just kind of air out, maybe have a third party sitting there trying to figure out, well, why am I always being mad at you? Or why are you all being mad at me, you know? And guess what? It's been working out. You know, it's been working out wonderfully, and I think he's going to propose soon.
Right. Oh, that's
You know?
good. Well, you know, Shirley, I was just thinking, I think a lot of men, it's not to say that, you know, just all men are just horrible. I think many times in marriage situations, they mean well because they feel like I'm the man of the house. I'm supposed to take care of this. I'm supposed to do the finances and I'm supposed to do that. But then sometimes they may make mistakes and the wife doesn't know that. And then something happens to them where they pass away or whatever. And there's nothing there.
How about 7 mistakes last week? Let me tell you, there were 7 deaths last week that I witnessed.
7 deaths?
Number 7. They're through a friend of a friend or somebody else and all this and that. Okay, out of the 7, do you know 6 of them didn't have life insurance?
What?
Yeah. The 7th one did have it.
Not even $10,000?
They had term. Some of them expire. Some was too old, and some
That's
of them
right, because when you get 65, pretty much the term is gone.
the term has gone away.
Yeah.
So you buy term if you don't want to leave anything legacy for your family.
Right.
You know, and that's, you know, and 7 deaths. How is 7 deaths? 6 of them didn't leave anything. And on the 7th one had life insurance, but you know what they did? They had the 7th life insurance was called accidental. You know, because people buy accidental insurance all the time. Mm-hmm. But guess what? In this particular case, the person died of cancer. It wasn't accidental.
Accident, yeah.
So therefore, the insurance didn't pay that either.
So they've been paying money on this policy that they couldn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I see rampant. And today I had a young mother coming in with 3 kids as well. And I said, what does your husband do? My husband works for the government. Okay, great. What does he have? Oh, he's got, you know, the term insurance, really cheap price. And I see that trend coming down the road.
And, you know, and it's not like, and this is my thinking, so
Yeah.
you correct me if it's wrong. It's not that term insurance is bad. I mean, term insurance is better than nothing at all, but you got to stay on top of it. Because I've met some people that's what they had, and then they were all of a sudden 70 and 80, and it was ending. And in order for them to try and get insurance, it was going to cost them 5-6 times more because of their age.
Here's what I see when people buy term insurance. So they buy a house, they said, hey, look, you know, I bought a 30-year mortgage. I just want enough to pay for that mortgage for 30 years, right? Mm-hmm. So that was their original intention, buying term insurance. Okay, at that time it fit. It meet the needs in 30 years. But guess what the problem is? After 15 years living in the house, they decided the house went up really good, so therefore they took some money out to refinance the mortgage. Mm-hmm. Now you don't have a 30-year mortgage. You just extended that mortgage to more debts because, you know, they refinanced, they took the cash out, they do whatever it is they need to do. So now, you know, that other term that you have, before they were supposed to take care of all this, now it's just gone even higher, you know? Mm. I mean, so, okay, 30 years comes around, you still got another mortgage, another 15, 20 years.
Right.
So what, you know, then you try to get again, you can't qualify for health, whatever reason, you know?
Right.
I mean, I do term insurance, there are time and needs for it, but most of the time, you know, I don't like to recommend it because I know you're donating most of the time.
Right.
You know?
Well, let's talk about some of the products that you think are good for women to consider.
Well, you know,
and I'm speaking right now, I guess I'm speaking of single moms.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times single moms, when it comes to financial investment, they think you got to put a ton of money. No, I mean, it depends on the age you are. Imagine if they save $5 a day, $10 a day, you know, and that's what you need to do. You need to do discipline enough to save that money every single week, you know, every single day, so that you can have for the future. Because the toughest thing is that I know the first couple months is always like, oh my God, you know, I have to put this much out. But believe it or not, after 6 months, all these young mothers that I see get used to it. It's part of like electric bills. It's part of, the different kind of bills that you have, and they grow accustomed to it,
Can you give an example of maybe one type of product? I don't have to have
Sure.
the name of the product, but just what it does.
Well, one of the things I like to do is usually when I look at the person, hey, you want tax-free retirement? If you want tax-free retirement, then absolutely. There's a unique product called Index Universal Life that it does all those kind of things. It gives you protection, if something happened to you, getting hurt, getting sick and all that. And at the same time, it provides a vehicle that it's not just death insurance. You know what I mean? It provides a stream of income where you can have. There's a new program nowadays that's coming out that literally is shocking that I can literally fund it for 4 or 5 years, Tia, and that person will never have to worry another day in their life. And, what if you had a chance in a market when the market does perform? There are some years that index IUL was making 20, 25% return on the money. Hey, guys, imagine having that kind of growth, tax deferred, and becomes tax-free. You tell me a 401k can do that. Just a thought. Now, I'm not going to say that that's a guarantee. Past performance don't predict the future, but I'm using the same indice of your 401k that's using. So if you believe your 401k is going to go up, so will this thing, because we're tied to the same index. And that's what people don't understand, utilizing life insurance as one of the greatest tax vehicle. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to extend right now. A lot of folks right now, I'm literally going in, just tell them to structure in the right way, literally taking from a 401k and moving it into an IUL.
But they don't take everything out of their 401k.
Well, in some cases they do.
Some people have done that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, right now, we've got thousands of people who are now doing that. And they see it, they say, look, inside 401k, think about it, you've got to pay the taxes anyway. It's not like you can't even get away not paying taxes. So they say, you know what, let me go ahead and hit my taxes right now. I'll move that thing out and move it over here, where it's growing tax deferred and becomes a structured right, tax-free 100%. I know, it's bold.
So how does the Index Universal Life product work? Let's say I'm 30 years old. I make maybe $40,000 a year and I have 2 kids. Are my kids on that or not?
Well, when your kids, you leave a legacy. That was the most important thing. But to me, it's about having an opportunity for a stream of income for this 30-year-old that she needs that money somewhere down the road because something she started to save up now.
Right.
Okay, so let's say the account grew to be $500,000. She used, $250,000 of it while she's alive, and the other $250,000 leave her family in case she dies.
Right.
So it's kind of good, on that.
Right.
So let's take a short break, and we'll return after these important messages.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal Student Aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Welcome back. You're watching Skills to Pay the Bills in today's segment of Shirley Lou Finance with your co-hosts Tia Young and Shirley Lou. Shirley, before the break, you were about to go a little bit into explaining what the index product would be like for a woman, say 30 years old with a couple of kids. And this lady is concerned about, would she be able to add her kids onto that policy, or would she have to create 2 different policies for them?
Well, here's a couple options. One option is, yes, you could add your kids to the policy. But what I'd like to recommend is usually if you have kids, do a separate policy for them. You know why? Because when, my little one, when she gets married one day, I can turn the policy over and say, look, Mom did this account for you when you were little. You're grown up now. You're getting married. I'd like to give you this as a gift. I mean, it's a nice gift that they can start taking over, starting contributing their own payments, right? Now, on the other hand, if your kids misbehave or they marry someone you don't like, you keep it, okay? Yeah. But there's so much flexibility in it because why? Because, when the kids have their own separate policy, now they have their own identity. Now it becomes their retirement, it becomes their life insurance, and it becomes all these living benefits that they can tap into while they're alive if they ever get hurt, get sick.
So living benefits, can you talk a little bit about that? What does that mean?
For example, dementia, Alzheimer,
Right.
I'm sure you know today's situation, you know,
Right. With my mom.
with your
Yeah,
mom, right?
yeah,
And
that's good.
imagine if you've met me years ago and you had these policies, guess what? This account, you know, would have given you a couple $100,000 to use, you know, during this time. Wouldn't it be beneficial?
Yes.
You've heard of people having a heart attack or stroke, right? And you know, because things happened. And then sometimes you see the young people that's invincible. Oh, I'm pretty healthy. I don't need life insurance. Believe me, my son even tells me that all the time. But here's you ready for this is startling statistic, okay? Long-term care. You think long-term care for the young or the old? Usually.
Well, you usually think it's for age.
For the
after
older,
you're
right?
older,
No,
yeah.
guess what? Most long-term care, believe it or not, are for the young. Because some of the young ones, what they're doing is that they're doing something invincible. They jump off the airplane, they skydive, they snow dive, and so they do, you know, little silly things sometimes, and that gets them into getting hurt where they can't, you know, move, can't eat, can't bathe, and all.
Right.
Because those are the things are very real. Happens all the
And
time.
they're having strokes and heart attacks too, like the older people.
I have one of my people on my team. He's 26 years old and had a heart attack, stroke. Now he's paralyzed on half the left. He said he exercised, he runs, and he is like best of health. And he could not understand how did it happen? Because you just don't know. You know.
So are you taking the living benefits? Are you taking money out of your reserves? You know, the excess that you earned to take care of that, or is that coming out of the policy? Or how does that work?
Here's how the policy works. Let's say the insurance company gives you $500,000. They know sooner or later if you pass away, they have to give you the $500,000. It is the law. It's a contractual obligation agreement. As long as you pay the premium, you get that $500,000. You understand? So from a company standpoint, that's so, okay, if I got to pay $500,000 anyway, I can give her now or later.
Oh, okay.
So the living benefits acts like, you know, where I can start liquidating some of that in the event if I have these crises that happens.
And so you still have your money growing for you
and
in
at
the
the same
policy.
time, right, in the policy.
Okay.
So, you know, I can use part of it now. And you know what? I think it's pretty healthy for an individual to be able to make that decision. Okay, I got $500,000. I'm hurt really bad right now. You know, I need that money now. Traditional life insurance, other stuff out there doesn't have a lot of those features. You know, not all the benefits like I just mentioned about. You know, those are very old insurance. I mean, audience out there, you really owe it to yourself to really do a checkup of what you have. You know, if you got term, whole life, universal life, variable life, those are all very old stuff, you know?
Right. Shirley, let me ask you, and I'm thinking that these things go along with understanding about your financial, you know, stability. Do you agree that women should make sure that they have a living will, medical directives, and power of attorney?
Oh, absolutely.
Or is that something?
No.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think everyone should have that. Everyone should have that, and then this really neat. I've got this other, you know, if any audience out there, you know, contact me. I'll give you guys. It's $100 worth of software, but I'll give you at no charge. It's called the Castle Keys, and the Castle Keys is a way where you can put all your information there. So, because most time when someone passes away, the family is running around trying to figure out, okay, what did mom, dad have? Did they have this bank account? Well, what's the password? Who have access to it? Well, do they have a will? Do they have a trust? Well, what life insurance do they have? Do they have a pension plan? Oh, my dad used to work for military. You know, all these, where's this discharge paper?
Yeah,
right?
where is all this stuff?
So this software, it takes all that away. It puts everything in one perspective, in one neat place, that it's right there, so in case anyone ever happened.
And you're going to give this free to people who call in?
I'll give anyone for free if they call in. Yes.
Okay, all right. You heard it.
I mean, they can reach me at 703-608-1203, or they can just Google my name, Shirley Lou, L-U-U, and they'll find me.
ShirleyLouFinance.com.
ShirleyLouFinance.com. That's it, and I'll give all the audience out there. Yeah.
So you do consider this to be a part of building that total financial portfolio?
Absolutely, I think that's really important to have, because this.
Okay,
helps
good.
them.
Now we've started getting questions from people, and I wanted to bring three. I think I have three questions from you from people living in the DMV area.
Okay.
This first question is from Ramona, Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
She says that she invested $50,000 in an index annuity product. She says, I have gotten really great returns this past year. However, we have a financial emergency and I need to take out $10,000. Will I lose the interest that I've already earned if I take the money out? You know, she says, I don't really want to take the money out, but I don't have any other choice. What do you recommend?
Well, first of all, you've got to, depends which company do you have the annuity with, okay?
Okay.
Once you make that interest, if it is an index product, that money is yours. You know, they can't take it away from you because that's your account. That's the gain that you make, okay? Now, every account that you have, they have what's called a, most of them anyway, have what's called 10% penalty-free withdrawal. So you can, you know, if she has 50,000, like you said, then technically she can go and take about 5,000 out of it. You know, that's 10% of that. Okay. Now let's say she needs that additional 5%, you know, $5,000. Then depends on the carrier that she has with. It will have the different surrender charge period that she may have to pay on that particular annuity.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it is her money, you know, the interest, yeah.
But those products are designed for, you know, to stay for a certain period of time in order to get the maximum. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and same thing with the annuity product is similar. It is like a 401k. So if you're under, you know, that brings up the other subject. If you're before 59 and a half and you do go into your 401k and take it out, what do you got? You got the IRS going to go after you for 10% penalty. That's the law, right? Yeah. Well, the annuity, same thing, because it is a qualified plan. If you go in there, take people 59 and a half, the IRS will come to you and say, hey, what's my penalty that you have to pay, right? Right. And that's why I love the other product, whereas the other index IUL, there's no penalty. You know, on that particular case, it's flexible. I'm 20 years old, 30 years old. If I put enough money in there, I can go into assets when I need to without the restriction. And guess what? Without the tax liability. If I structure it, go in there, takes as a loan feature out. So there are so many things that uniquely that could help.
Okay, so here I'm trying, because I know we don't have time. Here's a question. This question is from Jennifer in Falls Church, Virginia. My husband suddenly passed and left an insurance policy of $50,000. After funeral expenses, I have $40,000 left and 3 small children to raise. What type of strategy should I consider that is relatively safe and will grow and give me enough money to send my children to college? She does work, and the house was paid off before her husband passed, so they don't have a mortgage.
She was very fortunate. She's very fortunate. Well, I would sit down with her and said, okay, in order for me to give recommendation, let's take a look at your finances. Today, you told me you're going to work. The question is that, do you have enough money when you're going to work to support your kid, right? And she's going to either tell me yes or no, right? If she said, no, I don't have enough, then we're going to say, okay, let's take a look at the money that you currently have. How much of it more do you need extra a month, right? So, but on the other hand, if she said to me, I'm good. I go to work, I've got benefits, I've got health insurance paid, I got this paid, I got that paid and all that stuff. This money, I don't see it, you know, needing it. Well, she may say to me, well, I need to buy a car because, you know, my car's breaking down very soon. You know what I mean? Because the house is all paid for, it's cool. Again, every person is so different, you know, so you have to really sit down and have that candid conversation talk. What is it you're trying to do? And how soon you want to retire? And by the way, your budget, you got all these bills coming. Do you have student loan? You have this and that? You know, do you need to pay off some of your debt, credit card? You know, and how much is it? You know, then I can give them highly recommendation before I just take the money and dump into something.
Okay, that makes good sense. Okay. We had a third question, but I'm going to save that to the next time we are together because I want you to give us a little history, a little culture lesson. At the top of the hour, you talked about the Chinese New Year, so I want you to talk about that.
Well, you know, it's funny, this is the year of the dog, you know, and also this is...
So it's the year of the dog.
Yeah, the year of the dog.
And so don't you have different years, the year of the cat and different ones? So this is the year of the dog.
So the year of the dog is like the 11th zodiac sign.
Okay,
you know?
all right.
Okay. And it's funny because, you know, Vietnamese and Chinese New Year, they coincide together, okay? So in the New Year's today, ladies and gentlemen, be nice to everybody. Don't fight. Okay, you have to bite your tongue.
I've been biting mine all day.
Because if you fight with somebody, it means that all year round you're going to be fighting. You're mean, a mean spirit, and all that. And also today, it's New Year's Day, so therefore do not sweep your house. Because if you sweep out and stuff like that, that means you're sweeping out all the, could be the fortune that you could be having it in. Yeah, and it's really, and also, like this morning, you know, after midnight last night, whoever entered your houses on today's, if that person's good luck, then they'll bring you luck all year round, you know, and then those stuff, you know, so you don't want someone that's down and, you know,
So if
to be the
bad
first
people,
person
don't let 'em
enter.
in.
Yeah.
Let 'em in the house.
And then, you know, it's funny later on, you know, at my house, I'll have a little Chinese, and then there'll be red envelope that I give out.
Oh, you're going to have something today,
Yes,
tonight? Or
tonight,
this evening?
yes.
Okay.
So anyone who comes will get a red envelope, and inside of it, there's some money. But it's not a lot of money based on the red envelope. The red envelope is really for wishing you, I'm giving you, wishing you for the new year and in the future, health, wealth, and luck. That this thing would bring with you. So today, we had a bunch of folks in my office. I gave them all a red envelope. They were excited with the class.
That's interesting.
So,
So you're going to have fun tonight.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So you got to stop by.
So thank you, Shirley. Thank you so much for educating us. I mean, I learned a couple of things there. Some things I knew, but some things I learned today, and I want to thank you for that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tia, for having me.
Please take the time to contact your financial services professional to find out if the recent market correction has affected your annuity or life insurance products. If you don't have a financial services professional, contact Dr. Shirley Liu at the website scrolling below, and she will answer your questions or direct you to somebody who can help you. You're watching Skills to Pay the Bills with Tia Young and Dr. Shirley Liu. See you next week for another great show. Bye-bye.